Oklahoma Sooner fans, it's time to get that Orange Bowl taste out of your mouth because it's time to start over 0-0. And it'll happen on Saturday against the University of Houston. Preview coming up. We'll have a Sooner Stumper for you. We'll tell you where the game will be playing, who the Sooners will be playing. We'll cross enemy lines, the overall record, and then break down the two teams, including who's going to be covering the game as far as ESPN. All that and more coming up next. But first, your Sooner Stumper. Okay. 1981 and 2004 are the only other two meetings between Oklahoma and Houston. Can you name the two head coaches from 81 and 2004? And here's a little hint for you. The coach from the 1981 team coached the Houston coach from the 2004 team. And by the way, the one from the 2004 team is one of Baylor's top coaches. Probably their best coach, if you ask me. Find out who it is coming up next. Don't move. Welcome back to the show, everybody. My name is Harry James Taylor. The Sooner Stumper will start there. The two coaches from Houston from the 1981 season and the 2004 season when they played. The 1981 coach was Bill Yeoman. And one of his receivers, so he was the head coach at Houston in 81. The head coach in 2004, one of his walk-on receivers, Art Briles. And now, of course, the third installment of winning continues this time, of course, now with the Houston coach in that docket. So we got that out of the way. Where will be at NRG Stadium in Houston in a neutral site game, and it will be the number 5 Oklahoma Sooners as they will face the Cougars of 18th ranked Houston. The crossing of the enemy lines is the third coach on that docket that we were just talking about, Tom Herman. He was actually the offensive coordinator at Ohio State as we cross enemy lines. So it'll be a great test for that top game between Oklahoma and Ohio State in 2 weeks. Great prep for that. The weather, that's not going to much matter. NRG Stadium is a domed NFL arena. It's not really going to matter. The overall series, as we know, 2-0 in favor of the Sooners. Barry Switzer got the first one. Got it in 1981 in the Sun Bowl with a 40-14 victory over Houston. And then, of course, 23 years later, Art Briles brings his Houston Cougars into Norman, and they get slapped around silly pretty good too. 63-3. The third installment of it will be played Saturday, September 16th on ABC ABC at 11 o'clock. The broadcast team for the newest edition of the series. David Patch will be the play-by-play. Color analyst will be former Alabama Crimson Tiger Greg McElroy. And then the sideline gentleman will be the man with the glasses and Tom Luganville, the recruiting guru. Local Sooner Radio Network. By the way, this one, it's now going to be part of the of your internet access, free to download, TuneIn.com. So get the TuneIn app on your phone, smartphone or Android. Just look up TuneIn, and you can find it, and you can listen to on the play-by-play, Old Mama, Mr. Old Mama himself, Toby Rowland, along with Merv Johnson on color. And sideline reporting this year, Chris Plank and Teddy Lehman from SportsTalk1400.com. Corresponding will be Rufus Alexander from 107.7 The Franchise and 107.9 Franchise in Tulsa. The home being operative word, football pregame remote routine. Here's what it looks like. Of course, the official OU tailgate party, no stopping here. It will be right across from the Castle Fieldhouse in that open area. You'll see Boomer and Sooner. You'll see, at least as far doing their Sooner part of the Sooner Radio Network broadcast, Chris Plank, Toby Rowland, Rufus and Teddy, and those guys, Merv, those guys, all of them will be at that one. There is also, on all three of the rest of these are on Campus Corner. Balfour and Norman will do the Sports Talk 1400. That's Toby. That's Chris. That's Dusty. That's Chris. That's Toby. That's Chad McKee, Jessica Cootie. All those guys will be at Balfour. O'Connell's, right across the street from the Balfour, will be the WWLS. Let's see who's on the LS. Dean Blevins, Al Ashback, Jim Traber, those guys. And then my personal favorites. The Franchise 107.7, corner of White and Asp, there on Campus Corner. That is about in the general area of where the Hertz Donuts is. Colby Daniels, Sam Mays, Kara Rice, all those people will be at that one at White and Asp. The teams themselves that we pay attention to on the field, the on-the-field work, looked like this last year. First, we'll start with Oklahoma. Oklahoma, who points scored per ball game last year, points per ball game, 45.5. That was 6th best in the nation last year. Yardage per ball game, 530.2. That is 8th best in the country. Points allowed per ball game, PAG per ball game, 22.0. That is 66th best in the nation. And yards allowed per ball game, 85th ranked in the nation, averaging to 364.5 yards per ball game. Their head coach in his 18th season now, all at Oklahoma, Bob Stoops. 1979 to 1982 player for Iowa. A winning record of 179-46. That is a .796 winning percentage. Last year went 11-2, 8-1 in league play. Won as the number 1 team in the Big 12 Conference, beating TCU, Baylor, and Oklahoma State on a late-in run. Their Oklahoma Sooners are 8-8. That's 500 under the Stoops era. Division titles in the Stoops era. A couple of these, 2000, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2006, 2007, 2008, and 2010. All Big 12 South Division championships. Outright Big 12 championships or championships tied championships. 2000, 2002, 2004, 2006, 2008, 2010. Remember 2012? That's the tie that we were talking about with that asterisk with Kansas State. And then last year, 2015, the outright title. And finally, the University of Houston. The Cougars, last year, they averaged 40.0 points per ball game. That's 15th best in the nation. To match with 484.1 yards per ball game last year. That is 26th best in the nation. Points allowed per ball game last year, 20.7, and yards allowed per ball game was 114th, averaging 383.6 yards per ball game last year for Houston. The Houston Cougars are coached by Tom Herman in his second season at Houston. He is a graduate from California Lutheran. He's played there from 94 to 97. Both years at Houston as a head coach. 13-1 last year with a 929 winning average. Overall, I'm saying overall 13-1 and 929. And since last year was his first year, 13-1 overall. Last year in conference play, 7-1, and tied with Navy for the West Division American Conference Championship. Beat Navy in that game, so they moved on to the AAC title game where they played Temple and beat them to become the AAC champion of 2015. Beat them 24-13 last season. Finally, Houston Cougars overall bowl record under Tom Herman, 1-0. Conference or divisional titles in the Stoops era, 2006 as a USA West Division Championship, and 2015 as an American West Division Championship, and then also won the championship games in those years, 2006 and 2015. The University of Oklahoma will then open their home game slate. Now, there's not a lot of home games left that aren't sold out. Baylor and Kansas, I believe, are your big two. Go to Soonersports.com or call 1-800-456-GO-OU for those ticket options. I believe all the rest of them are all sold out, including a couple that we'll talk about over the next few weeks, ULM and Ohio State. On the docket. Speaking of ULM, we'll preview those guys next week, including, we'll preview that one. We'll give you a post-game show for this one from Texas, from the Texas Classic. And also, finally, we'll give you picks and more picks from around college football. All those videos will be up next week. Keep an eye out for those next Sunday. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, Sooner fans, strap it together, boys. Let's go down to Houston and tame us a Cougar. Boomer Sooner, everybody. Thanks for watching.